Yeah, no thanks. Okay, welcome back everyone to episode 49 of this podcast or whatever it is. For whoever is new, my name is Coach Prez. I'm a self-proclaimed philosopher. I'm a football coach and I like to ask questions and look for answers and make things better. Essentially, I explain what a coach is. All right. So, we're not going to spend too long on the intro today. Whoever is new, what we usually do is we start talking about sports in the beginning. Yeah. Then we move on to everything else. We ask questions about everything. Okay. Answer questions about everything and ask also, depending on what the chat feels like. Depending on whether we get some traction or not. If not, we talk about whatever I want to talk about. So basically, it most of the time is philosophy and decision making and morality and everything. So we can get started now. We can get started. What do I want to talk about today? I have to admit, before I get into everything else, just while we're still playfully discussing the recent events, yeah, was I lost my bet again this week. Obviously, to those that don't know, I often bet on the UFC fights. Yeah. So, yeah. And I normally win, but this week I didn't. So it's 2 weeks in a row now that I've lost, I have to admit. Again, it was very, very unfortunate circumstances. I should have won. I made somewhat of an emotional bet. Yeah, but I knew I'm making it, so I was happy with. I didn't mind doing it. All right. So I bet on Wonderboy to beat the fucking. I don't remember his fucking name anyway. And it was a close fight. It was a close fight. Yeah, the odds were 4-1. So I bet on Wonderboy, 4-1 odds. Wonderboy is one of my favorite fighters ever. Yeah, he's got the most beautiful karate, hands down style, movement in and out, just beautiful style. One of the best strikers ever. So I really like him. Although he's 42, 43, I had to bet on him. I had to. He's one of my favorite fighters. And I genuinely thought he can win. So first round he lost. Second round he was almost 50-50. Then he rocks the guy with a head kick. And then at the end of the round, yeah, towards the end of the round, he gets a brutal cut on his shin from a checked kick. His shin splits open. Boom! I thought he broke one of the bones, or maybe the fibula. Look at this knowledge, yeah. Anatomy. It was a massive cut, this big, blood all over the place. But he continued fighting, and the other guy was stalling the fight so badly. And even still, I thought Wonderboy got it, but they gave it to the other guy, to the up and coming moron, whatever. That lost me my bet. And I bet on Derek Lewis as an underdog, and he won. And Wonderboy definitely won. He got robbed. The other guy was just stalling the fight. I got this. But yeah, this is the circumstances. This is the reality that I have to accept. So we live with it. But I need to. Did we agree that I'm gonna keep score of my bets? What my success rate is. Anyway, since I'm doing this, it's 50-50 so far. Twice I've won, twice I've lost. So we move on. This week, yeah, we're gonna go back to winning. But I wanna keep score of what percentage of fights am I guessing correctly. I have to start doing it. It's just I don't have time to do that many things. I'm doing too many things. But anyway, regardless, It is what it is. I just wanted to make it clear, yeah, that I lost. As unlikely as it sounds, I did somehow. By the way, yeah, look at the upgrades. What do you think about RDJ as Doctor Doom? To those that don't know, I'm a huge Marvel fan. Huge, huge, huge Marvel fan. Look at all this. This is all comic books. This is probably 300-400 pounds of comic books, maybe more. I what do I think? It's fine. I don't mind Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom. I think he's gonna be okay. Um, I have other problems. I don't like the Fantastic Four. Probably I'm not gonna like it, and I don't. Very few characters are left that I like. So it's actually good that it's him because we know now for a fact that Doctor Doom is gonna be sick. He's gonna be a cool character, and this is what I'm looking forward to. I want to see a nice character. We can't have the Avengers or whatever it is with their best character being U.S. Agent John Walker. He's the best character. Who else is there? Doctor Strange. Hopefully they give him like the main role, but they're not. I feel like they're gonna push him to the side again. I don't know what they're gonna do. I think that they are only getting Robert Downey Jr. because he's the only way that the movie can work. Otherwise, it would be a mediocre movie and they're gonna lose money. That's why they're getting him, because now they're not gonna lose money. That's a fact. Definitely people are gonna watch the movie. If anything, just because of Robert Downey Jr. Yeah. And I can kinda see how I don't know how they're gonna spin it, but they said that he's the only person that could have played the role. So his Doctor Doom is somehow gonna be related to Iron Man. Okay, in some way, shape, or form. That's risky. That's risky. Because the last time we got something like this, I wasn't like it was okay when we got Deadpool and Wolverine, and when Deadpool went and basically went to Wolverine's grave and dug him out. It was 50-50. 50-50. I feel like this was the weakest part of the movie. A lot of people like it. It was the beginning of the movie. I didn't like the dancing. I didn't like the song. There were a couple of cool action sequences, but that was it. But I didn't like it. So they're gonna do something similar with Iron Man, probably. Obviously they're not gonna go to his grave, but something's gonna happen. Maybe like an alternate timeline or just something. What I don't want to happen is in an alternate timeline, Iron Man, there is in the comic books there is an evil version of Iron Man. I think the comic, I was close to buying it. I haven't bought it. I feel like I've spoiled the movie for myself enough. It's called the infamous Iron Man, I think, where he turns bad. I think he gets like super powered and he turns kind of bad, and I think this might happen. I don't, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to. Yeah, it's a difficult one, tough one. But I like him in the movie. I think it's gonna be good. I just hope. I just hope they don't mess up the Fantastic Four too much with all the gay stuff. They're pushing it too hard, and yeah, let's see. see, because in the comic book, why am I turning this podcast into a comic book fest? Anyway, lovely. It's we'll see how they're gonna spin it. I've already read the comic book. It's one of the best comic books. No, it's one of. It's the best by far. Nothing comes close. The best comic book I've ever read is Secret Wars. So I have big expectations. I really hope they don't mess it up. But it's the best ever story that I've read. So it's cool. Doctor Doom is basically God. Basically God. So yeah, I think Robert Downey Jr. is gonna do well. That being said, because we went a bit off track, what was I gonna talk about? I was gonna talk about many things, this included, which is fine. But I was talking about the upgrades in the background. I have a new lamp. I have a new chair. And this is bonus for all the people that actually come and listen to this podcast because of sport. I don't think there is anyone that does that actually. But anyway, look at this. I got this as well. This is brand new. My other one was absolutely messed up. So now, just I'm gonna be nice and I'm gonna explain to people, whoever is watching this, ever, in a simplified manner, why one of the most important things in football is width. Yeah. And people don't understand it, especially when they play. And I'm including people that have played football their whole lives. Yeah, they don't have any idea what they're doing. Some people kind of do it naturally, other people not really. But it's it's one of the most important. I believe this is probably the most important concept to understand. Once you understand this, the game starts to change for you. If you don't understand this, you're clueless to me. Like you don't know at all. You don't know anything. You don't know what's happening. So I'm gonna explain it to you very simply. Look at this. We're gonna use visuals. How fancy is this podcast getting? Lamp, cool background. I have a marker in my hand. It's too much. I'm becoming too professional. So the basic premise here of creating space and having width of the pitch on the pitch when you play football. Think about this. So in any team, obviously I'm generalizing heavily here just to, I'm just giving you a rule of thumb, just explanation of a basic concept, basic explanation of a basic concept. You have the back four. Actually, let's use this because it's bigger. Let me take this off because it's annoying, isn't it? One sec, guys. Technical difficulties, but we're getting there. Let's see if oh fuck, mate. I think that's cooked now. Oh, no, it's not. We should be good. Technical difficulties again. This is very annoying. Anyway, as I was saying, okay, we're back on. So let me just finish explaining this basic concept in football. Fucking hate technical issues, but it is what it is. We move on. So you have your back four, all right? And why this is so important as a concept to learn the concept of width is because you create, especially as a wide player, what is a dilemma? A dilemma is a problem that can. I haven't checked the dictionary today. Yeah. So you have your back four, striker, winger, and the other winger. Now, what happens if the winger, instead of staying here like a moron, moves out here? Now you can pass the ball to him. What would you do now? Look at this. You can pass the ball to him. Look at the space that he's got. Yeah. You're going to say, well, the defender is going to fall. Okay. If the defender moves in and follows him, so he can mark him, so he's tight, so he doesn't allow the guy to receive, what happens to that space? Space opens up. Yeah. Space in the center opens up, which is more of a problem. This is a bigger issue. So this defender, he's not really going to go there. Why? Because the guy out wide is less dangerous than someone in the center. So he would stay here. And by him staying here, you automatically get given space and time. This is a question that you are asking the defender a question that he cannot answer correctly just by going out wide. Why is this so difficult for people to understand? I don't know. If you ask, let's say, I would say, if you ask 10 people that play football to explain this to you, to tell you what I just told you, I guarantee 9 of them won't be able to. They might be able to understand it once they see it or kind of do it intuitively to a certain extent, but not really. They don't know why they're doing what they're doing. Therefore, they don't really understand what's happening. They just do whatever feels right. But you can only solve so many questions by feel. Yeah, maybe Messi can. Normal people can't. But understanding this changes everything. It changes everything. It changes the way you play football. You start understanding straight away. You understand, listen, when I play football, I'm actually part of a team. Okay, I'm one piece out of an 11-piece puzzle, or out of 6 or 7, whatever you play. Because 99.9% of people, when they play, they think, I'm the puzzle. You have to see yourself as a part of the team, as just one row, one part of the big machine. Yeah. And I think understanding this actually, boom, okay, now it makes more sense to me. Yeah, now, yeah, that makes sense. That's my job. Then when you start thinking about that's my job, that's not my job, then you actually, from this point, you start learning about football. Okay. And when you play next time and you're like, someone tells you, oh, you were supposed to do this and this, I'm like, mate, you were supposed to mark this guy. That space, that zone, that was kind of your job, you know? And stuff like that, and so on and so forth. But it's a good concept to learn. I believe this is the most important thing. You know, when I coach, when I teach new players, soon as they come, that's the first thing I tell them. And everyone can answer when I ask them, when you come out here, what happens? What is the defender going to do? that's a trick question, obviously. Everyone says, oh, he's gonna come, and I said, when he comes to you, what happens then? Space. Okay, so everyone understands, because football is a simple game, but everyone understands, but no one understands. Underestimating the game is simple, but it's not this simple. So let me just put this back at its rightful place. All right. That's just for the fans here, for the hardcore fans that are here for sports. Now that we've established this, I'm happy. We can move on now with any questions or whatever. I wanted to talk about something else as well. Multiple topics. You'll like the next one. The next one, though, it doesn't have anything to do with sports. Let me just enjoy a moment of Red Bull and silence. Because the next topic is a bit heavier. It's a bit more difficult. It's not difficult to talk about it. It's just more serious in nature. And I think people underestimate it. People think I feel like it's missed generally. What I'm going to talk about now is something that probably a lot of people can understand. I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to create a new law of physics. I'm not inventing anything new. It's just a thought that people don't really see. Although they can see all the parts. Everything that I'm going to say, every single sentence, if you take it at its own, like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, of course, that's obvious. But when you put them all together, like, oh yeah. So let me stop beating around the bush. I actually made a note. Why? Because I thought about this during the week. And I wrote it down just so it can remind me, I need to say this on my podcast. It's important. It's about when you think about people and life and how people live their lives. If you really, obviously, you can categorize people and lifestyles into an infinite category, basically infinite amount of categories. Yeah, you can have infinite categories. How you categorize them? I simplified everything when I was thinking, and I concluded you can listen. There is two basic modes of living. This is now my note. I'm gonna read it and then I'm gonna go into a bit more detail. There is two basic modes of living. One revolves around progress and one that revolves around fun. The first one needs routine. It needs structure. It needs repetition. The second one needs comfort, pleasure, spontaneity, new experiences. Woohoo. One is stable. One is spontaneous. I feel like when I make these gestures, I kind of give you very significant clues as to what I prefer. Anyway, doesn't matter. Stability, so listen to this, stability, because one is stable, one is not. One is spontaneous, very whatever you feel, new experiences, do this, do that. So stability is inherently a masculine feature. Think about it. What is a masculine feature? When we talk about feminine and masculine, masculine is something that would be considered appropriate for a man. So stability, masculine. No. Why? Well, because a man has always a man was always supposed to be stable. People have to be able to rely on you for a million reasons. So stability is inherently a masculine feature, and the opposite is feminine. So spontaneity is more so feminine. You go with your mood swings. Woohoo, woohoo. Today I'm here, tomorrow I'm here. This is feminine. Why? Because biologically, I would say, I would argue, women are more spontaneous than men, solely based on their emotional swings. You can just argue this alone. And I wouldn't even say this is like a crazy take. That's not really a crazy opinion from me. I think this is quite reasonable. I think it makes sense. Yeah. So, next sentence. One thinks about the greater good and one is selfish. This is, here we get a bit. So, one thinks about the greater good because when you're focused on progress, you are thinking about the greater good. Yeah. What are you progressing? Wherever it is, something is getting better. When something is getting better, that's good. As they say, a rising tide raises all boats. That's a nice saying. That's one of my favorite sayings. An extension of this argument. You can't be selfish and be a good person. You can only pick one. You can either be selfish or be a good person. You can't have both. It's just one. Especially as a man. Okay, I'm not here. Especially as a man. Yeah. Your strength is measured by how selfless you can be as a man. This is my opinion. This is what I believe. And I think this is a really good, accurate statement. The strength of a man is measured by how selfless one can be. Women are selfish. Why? Women are much more, I would say, again, this is just a speculation. I would say women are much more selfish than men, on average, I think. Or maybe they used to be. Nowadays, because everything is so mixed up. Nowadays, it might not be the case. I think all people are generally the same. Yeah, men and women, the differences between men and women nowadays are not very pronounced. But I think naturally, women used to be more selfish. Why? Because think about it. I would say it's normal. Why? Because this is probably some sort of an extension or related in some way to being a mother. You know, because women ideally and ultimately become mothers. A mother has to be selfish because she has to think about herself first because she has a child to look after, if that makes sense. It's just like an extension of this maternal instinct. I have to take care of myself because if I don't take care of myself, my child is in danger because I can't take care of my child. I think that makes a lot of sense. This makes sense. It just makes sense. So my point was, look around, look at society. What are people think about the majority of people? What are they thinking about? What do they want to do? Think about what I said, and I'll give you two examples that are not going to be very. Listen, people, no one likes hearing this, but it is what it is. I just have to say it. Why? Because it's the truth. To me, it's very obvious. So I'm just going to say it. Now, whether people agree, disagree, or think I'm a hater or whatever, doesn't matter. So, two basic modes of living. One revolves around progress and the other one revolves around fun. Think about it. One revolves around fun. What would that look like and sound like? Going out, holidays. What holiday am I going on this year? Oh, next year I'm gonna go there. Traveling in general. Traveling is new experiences, pleasure, fun, spontaneous. I feel like this is the epitome of that more so feminine way of living, where pleasure and comfort is central. Travel, travel, buying stuff, just basically living a normal life, to put it very bluntly, has become kind of feminine. Think about it. How many people would rather live this lifestyle, the normal one, and how many would live the other one, the routine, stability, hard work, because I need to get somewhere. I have to do something. If you had to force people to pick one, how many would go here, where it's hard work, monotonous, everyday grind, struggle, but you are doing it for something you believe in, for the greater good. You think that this is going to be something significant. How many people are going to take this path? And how many people are going to take this path? Holidays, 3 times a year, buy a new pair of trainers, go out here, go out there, do this because it's fun, go and play paintball. So this is like the way of the hero almost here, and this is the way of, I don't know, the normal person. Think about this. Now, because I'm smart, you can see how I spun it from the beginning. The masculine is here and the feminine is here. Now, is this me trying to be too clever and spinning it in a certain light and make this look good and strong? Yeah, oh, yeah. And this is like, I'm gay. In the 70s, obviously, meaning of the word. Uh, I listen. I don't know whether I spun it in this direction because I'm a victim to confirmation bias, which is believing things that fit into my own narrative, as we all are, or because just this is the reality of the situation. I'd like to ask someone. I really want to know what. Yeah, but it does make sense. It sounds logical, doesn't it? But then again, at least from the people that I know, how many people actually choose this and why? Another thing, I would say 9 out of 10 people that choose this path are delusional. They they're completely delusional and they're not gonna get anywhere. I feel like. I feel like what's happening to my vocabulary? It's weakening. We reject weakness. I think. I'm just trying to be a bit softer with my opinions. I think this is what happens when you do 49 episodes of podcasts. You avoid being too hard with your takes. I feel like I'm strong enough with my takes anyway. But yeah, 9 out of 10 people that pick the hard path of masculinity, stability, monotonous grind, and hard work, 9 out of 10 are not going to get anywhere. Why? Because they're going to quit. They're going to quit. People quit. People quit so easily. It's, it's not even funny. It is funny, actually. It's so easy to make someone quit. Just give up. And nothing happened. 2 months. I'm out. Sorry. Had enough. Not for me. That's bullshit. Everything is against me. I'm a victim. This is going to lead me into my next insight. People try and do something very difficult, very tough. Like they actually start on this path of masculinity. They fail, or they see there is a difficulty. Okay. Something gets in their way. They experience hardship. And then what happens? They end up learning the wrong lessons. They end up learning the wrong lessons. You know, when people say, I've learned my lesson, a lot of the times it's the wrong lesson. We attribute way too much weight onto the results or outcomes from something which are definitely not consistent. Yeah, if you run an experiment and you do everything the exact same way as you did when you failed, you do the exact same things and you run that experiment 100 times, maybe the other 99 you succeed. Just this one time you failed, and because of this one fail, you're gonna go and say, you're gonna come out with a generalized lesson. I've learned my lesson. My lesson is never trust people that say they love you. For example, that's a dumb example, but you know what I'm saying? Just a very overly generalized rule that is way too extreme. Yeah, like let's say you're working really hard. You work really, really hard. You know why? Because you want to achieve this and this and this. And then something unfortunate happens, something bad happens. Then you get scared, or something happens to someone that you care about, or whatever. And you go, oh, wait. Oh, that doesn't matter, you know. I'm going to quit this because, you know, you have to spend time. All that matters is the people that you care about and having fun. You know, you can't take this into the grave, that into the grave. Okay, mate, listen. Bad things happen to people anyway, you know. What you're saying is so generalized. It's like, you know, that quote when Steve Jobs was dying and they got a quote off of him. Basically, it's saying something along the lines of you realize that all the money in the world can't buy you a family or something like this. Yeah. And I've seen it, this quote reposted about a million times. Yeah. And it's, look, even the most successful and the richest people, blah, 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 blah. This is what they say, even after this, after that. Whoa, calm down, wait. This is what someone that is dying said. We confuse then, again, another confusion. We like to take lessons from, let's say, old people with experience. But you need to think about this. 9 out of 10 times, the advice that these old people give are fueled by what? By regret and by weakness. Because when you're old, you are weak now. Just think about how you feel day to day. Feel about a moment in your life when you were out of shape, you were not fit, or you felt sick. What was your thought process like? Was it good? Was it positive? And then think about a time in your life when you felt so physically strong. Yeah, you felt like you can move a mountain, you can run through a brick wall easily, like you're invincible. And think about your mindset then. So you have to take into consideration when old people give you an advice. It's coming is heavily fueled by regret and by weakness because their body is, you know, their condition is getting worse and worse. It's just natural. I don't even talk about sick old people. And I have nothing against old people. If you ask me who I want to have conversations with, it's children and old people, to be fair, for the most part. But yeah, keep this in mind as well. This is what I talk about, learning the wrong lessons. You experience something and you learn the wrong lessons. It happens to everyone, almost. It happens to everyone when you're looking for a quick, generalized answer that is easy. Yeah, you're not looking for what's right, for what's true. You're looking for what's. Let me just get something. Yeah, I'll never again buy from this shop. This shop is fucking shit. Because one time you bought, I don't know, like fish, yeah, you bought salmon and it was bad. That fucking shit shop, you generalize the whole shop because of one bad pack of salmon, for example. And your lesson that you learned is so over the top and exaggerated that what did you, exactly what do you gain? Nothing. Overreacting. Wrong lessons. Yeah. Always think something happens to you. How did I improve from this? Not what did I learn? What is the improvement that I made? This happened, which taught me a lesson. What was the lesson? Now remove that sentence, taught me a lesson, and say, this happened, and then because of that, I improved X, Y, and Z. This is a better way of operating and thinking about things. Don't worry about, I learned this and that lesson. No. Improvements. What improvements were made? This is more so like a cold, stoic, scientific language. But we need it. We need to be accurate and somewhat cold in order to move forward and to get better at things and to learn from our behaviors. See, when I say to learn from our past behaviors and experiences and not from our mistakes. I could say learn from our mistakes, but it sounds too cliche. I try and stay away from cliches because they're cliche. You know. then you have to take into consideration another thing. My personality naturally kind of, I'm this type of person that naturally likes to go against what everyone is doing. I don't know why. We can ask someone, but I'm not sure why. Maybe I need to think about it myself. Why do I always want to be the opposite of what everyone else is, let's say, saying or doing or whatever? Let's say, for example, 10 people can tomorrow tell me Red Bull is bad for you. And I can be like, no, it's not. Although it might not be the best, but I'll be like, yeah, I'll have Red Bull then. Let's go. That's a dumb example because it makes me look stupid. But I'm just, you know, I'm just giving you a dumb example. Apply this example to everything else. For example, if yeah, it doesn't matter. Why am I going into like personal anecdotes? Doesn't matter. Ultimately, we're here for more intellectual or intellectually stimulating content and conversations, not for my personal therapy session. Yeah, I remember now. So I said that how many people are going to take that hard path? And you know what else you need to think about when you're taking it and why it's not very common? Because it's difficult. It's a difficult thing to do. It's borderline impossible to really push yourself to the. And it's the other thing. To do it, it's lonely. To go in this direction of progress, the greater good, or I'm dedicated to this. I'll do it. Why? Well, because I have to. For some reason, something is pushing you. Whether it's some sort of a guiding moral principle or whatever it is, or a higher calling, purpose, something. There is something else, the greater good, as I keep calling it. And it's lonely. It's a very lonely path. Sooner or later, you get isolated. You can only refuse to go to you can only refuse to go out with your friends so many times before they stop asking you to go out. How many times? 5, 10? And after that, they're like, "Ah, there's no point. He's not coming out anyway." This is kind of what happens when you're here, when you're looking to do something significant, when you're putting 110% of yourself into something. Just one way or another, you become isolated. You are left alone, and by alone, alone can be expressed differently. It can be expressed by, you can be with people, but you look around and you can't, you're not relatable anymore. You can't really relate to other people as much. It's tough. No one is as driven as you. It's tough. You feel like no one else is doing anything. You can become very bitter. You're like, look at you, you're not doing anything. What the fuck are you doing with your life? You can become very judgmental. It's difficult not to. There is a long way to go to get to the point where you're extremely driven, but you're not judgmental. And you can kind of accept that other people are lazy, don't have any ambitions, and they're selfish. And you have to say in your own head, you have to be like, yeah, that's okay. You do you. I'll let you be. At least for me, this was very difficult to do. It took me years. I feel like now I'm almost there. I've stopped judging people that are not as ambitious as me, because I just understood, hey, listen, I'm alone in this. I don't find people that I can relate to anymore. I just understood, listen, mate, There is a quote, I think, by Nietzsche: every great thinker is more afraid of being understood than misunderstood. And it started making more and more sense to me, not because I'm some great thinker. I can think, yeah. Am I one of the greats? No. Maybe I can be one day. Very difficult. You know why? Because Nietzsche at 26 had already written his most significant works. But anyway, and I'm 27. Fuck. Too late for me. Anyway, but yeah, the higher you soar mentally, and mostly mentally, the higher you go, the more you understand that you start accepting the fact that, listen, I'm not relatable. I can't relate to you. I can't relate to your struggles, to your frustrations. You're unhappy because your bacon is not perfectly cooked, or because the sausage in your breakfast is this type instead of this type. What are we talking about here? What the fuck are we talking about here? Why am I talking to these people? Why am I here? It's difficult to move past this, where you're like, just whatever, just let them be, and to not be condescending, to still be nice, not to look down on people. That's very tough. It's isolating. You can, as I said, you can be with people, but you're still in the most profound and real way, you're absolutely alone, because no one understands you. There is no one that you can relate to, that can understand your struggle, or no one to push you, because people don't push you when you're working harder than them. They wouldn't try and push you. It's just not something that people do. I would say, think about this, the majority of people, obviously we have this first person experience of the world. Our own experience is our norm. Yeah, the way you see the world, for you, this is your baseline, this is your norm, this is normal. By normal, it's almost like this is how it's supposed to be. Yeah, I think everyone is probably like this. And I think us as people, in our attempt to connect, we consciously or subconsciously try to bring other people closer towards our norm, whatever it is. So if I'm very ambitious as a person, I naturally try and do this, push all the other people around me to try and bring them towards my level, because I feel like this is the norm here, as I said, based on my experience. And I just try and bring people in closer towards me, because I feel like this is how it's supposed to be. This is how things are supposed to be. And then the opposite, people that, let's say, I'm not ambitious at all. I just want to live my life, have fun. But you see someone next to you, he's very driven. He always wants to do things. He wants to do this, he wants to do that. Oh, fuck. Technical difficulties, guys. I'm going to fix them shortly. This is a very, that setting is unusual for me. And it interrupted my speech, which is not very, very fun. Okay, back to finishing of this podcast. Yeah, people that are not very ambitious, they'll try and bring you towards their level. Hey, relax, you're doing too much. Relax a little bit. Relax, why not? Have a bit of fun. You have to have a bit of fun. So they try and start bringing you towards them. Not necessarily because they're jealous or because you make them feel bad or whatever. No, just because they think that this is the norm, because they are the judge. As I said, your experience of the world is your baseline, is your norm. I feel like, as I said, consciously or subconsciously, you want to bring other people towards that norm. It's just natural thing to do. I don't know why. I'm not sure. Maybe I need to ask ChatGPT. It's going to help me. So less ambitious people, maybe they don't have bad intentions, but they just naturally try and pull you down here. They're not going to try and do this, push you up there. I think this is my closing statement. 1 hour in, through many difficulties, we actually managed to get through this podcast. Now, I really hope that it actually gets saved and it can be watched. I would be really happy if it can. So, can we get a prayer for whoever controls YouTube? Please do not mess up my podcast, because I worked through a lot to get this podcast on. So do not mess up my podcast, YouTube, please. Upload it properly, let it stay there, and that's it. We're finished. I'll be back next week or at the end of this week to do. I might. Oh, you know what? I might go live on Saturday for Usyk and Dubois. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I'll do that. With episode 50, big episode is coming. 50, half a century. We've done 50 episodes. We're gonna be roughly on 52, exactly on the 1 year mark, which I'm happy about. And we move on, progressing one step at a time, one step at a time. But yeah, that's it. Listen, everyone that hopefully heard this or will hear this, thanks for watching, listening, and everything else. And yeah, I'll be back next week. Not next week, next time, sorry. See you later.